Good day, everyone. Namaste. Welcome to day 2 of your Yin Yoga practice. So our practice is going to be focusing on our hips today. So that's outer hips, inner thighs, and from an energetic perspective, we're working the meridian lines that feed into the liver and the gallbladder. So in terms of props, what you're going to have handy for you is a couple of blankets, some thin ones if you have. You can also use cushions or blankets, or you can even roll up some pillows. And we're going to get started with our first pose, wide knee child's pose. So come into about the center of your mat and bring the big toes so that they're touching and your heels are just apart. And you're creating a little bit of a shelf here. As you open your knees up nice and wide, keep your hips grounded towards your heels and then slowly start to fold forward. As you fold forward, if your hips start to lift up, then you can use some props. You can stuff a blanket in between your hips and your heels, or you can also stack them in front of you and use that as a shelf. So coming forward into your wide knee child's pose, you can stack your fists and rest your forehead there, or if it's accessible to you, you can bring your forehead down to the earth. Once you're into position, I'm going to ask you to close the eyes. Slowly start to deepen your breath. And think about feeding the breath into the back of the body, and as well into your hips, into your thighs. Draw all of your awareness and all of your attention onto your breath. Nice deep breaths in, and nice slow, long flowing breaths out. Try to keep all of your awareness drawing on your breath, especially if you're finding that the sensations in your body are really starting to speak to you. So lengthen up through your inhale and deepen out through your exhale. And we're here for just another 30 seconds, so stay with me here. Take a few more really deep, really full breaths. Try to relax through your eyes, through your jaw. Keep your shoulders nice and soft, belly relaxed. With the help of your hands, slowly start to press into your palms and lift yourself up. Keep your eyes closed if you can. Once you're sitting upright, rather than dragging your knees apart, just pick up your knees and draw your knees together. Take a moment here sitting up with a nice long spine. Take another full breath in and take a long breath out. And then let the eyes open. Take a moment here to shake out and release. You can just walk the legs back one at a time. You can also take a brief little pause here in down dog if that works for you. But eventually you're going to make your way back into tabletop pose, and we're going to set up for sleeping swan. Okay, so drawing your right knee towards your right wrist, you're going to extend your left leg back. Keeping the hips as level as you can. If you need to, you're going to tuck something underneath that right hip. So that's where your blanket or your cushion or pillow even can come handy. And you can also have another one to put in front of you as well. And when you're ready, take a moment to lengthen up through your spine. Relax your shoulders. And then slowly hinge forward here. Coming down onto your forearms. Again, you can stack something underneath you and give yourself a little bit more support. You can stack fists, rest the forehead there, or if it's accessible, you can bring your forehead directly down to the floor. In this pose, there should be no sensations in through that front knee. So if you're finding that you're feeling a lot of tension in through the knee, then bring yourself up. Make sure that you have a support underneath that hip. And sometimes just sitting up on the elbows can be quite enough sensation. There's plenty there to draw your attention to. So when you're nice and comfortable in your pose, allow the eyes to close once again. Let the breath start to deepen. And even take a few breaths where you start to increase the quality of your exhale. So your exhale is becoming longer, fuller, deeper than your inhale. Now for some of you, most of the sensation is probably going to be targeting through that outside of your hip, okay, where your gallbladder meridian line runs. And then for those of you, you might also be feeling some sensation through that front inner thigh or even the back inner thigh where your liver meridian runs. Okay, so these two meridian lines feed directly right into those organs. And by staying in this pose and allowing that tug along the meridian line to happen, you're effectively revitalizing the tissues, but you're also optimizing the function of your organs. So stay here with your breath. You can explore little bits of movement here if you're finding your sensations are pretty dull. So some of you may want to just shift a little bit to your right, or you can shift a little bit to the left. You can stay exactly in the center where you are, especially if you're feeling enough sensation. Try to keep your mind focused on your breath. And if there's any external stimulation or sound that's around you, just let that become part of your experience rather than taking you away from it. And really focus on your breath out. If you can, take one more really deep, really full breath in. Long breath out. And with the help of your hands, you're going to slowly lift yourself back up. Okay, from here, plant your hands nice and firmly into your mat. Lift your hips up a little bit and very carefully slide that right leg back. Again, you can make a little bit of movement here, just walking the legs back. You can take another little down dog if that works for you. And then come back to tabletop pose, and we'll head over to the left side. So same pose here, you're going to draw your left knee forward this time, right leg swings back. Again, try to level your hips as much as you can, and if that means supporting something underneath your left hip, then tuck something, whatever you've got there, pillow, cushion, blanket, bolster, and then slowly start to make your descend down towards the floor. Close your eyes. Drop into the breath. Relax your jaw. Relax the space between the eyebrows. Really focus the awareness onto the breath out. Almost allowing that breath in to happen on its own. And then maximizing these long, deep breaths out through your nose. So So even though this is a short little practice, it's still very effective at tugging at the tissues, the meridian lines, the organs. And remember that it's not about how far or how deep you go in your pose. It's just about finding a place of sensation that you can rest into. And then allowing the time marinating in the pose to do the work that it needs to. You need to optimize the organs, the function of the meridian lines that feed into those organs, and to release the tension from the connective tissue that holds your muscles in place. We're almost done here. Take a few more really deep, really conscious breaths. Okay, at least one more really deep, full breath here. And on your next inhale, use your hands once again. Slowly lift yourself up. Plant your hands into the mat. Slowly lift the hips up. Slide that leg back. Again, make any movement you feel called to make here to release, especially your knee. And then when you're ready, you're going to slide down on towards your back, coming into Savasana. So Savasana can either be more supportive in fashion with your knees bent, feet just slightly apart, arms down by your sides. Or if it's comfortable on the low back, you can extend your legs all the way out. Your palms are going to face towards the sky. Let the shoulders relax down away from the ears. Let the chin rest a little bit towards the chest. Take a moment to soften the body down. Relax the belly. Let the eyes drift back to their sockets. Let the practice incorporate into the body and into the mind. Allow your body this time to reap the benefits of these couple of poses that we did. And then as a final piece to your Savasana, just let your breath go. Let it find its own natural pace. Stay here in Savasana as long as you like. If you have a little bit more time today, then indulge in a longer Savasana. And when you find you're ready to slowly release out of your Savasana, you'll roll to your right side. Just take a moment or two to rest in fetal pose before you come up to a comfortable seat. And as a final piece to your practice, you'll bring the hands together in front of the heart center. Let the chin rest towards the chest and take a moment to honor your practice. Thanks for joining me for day 2. We'll see you tomorrow, day 3. Namaste.